Back on Inside Tennessee with my colleague John North. Again, we're talking about the constitutional amendments on the ballot with Senator Becky, Duncan, Massey of Knox County and our panelists Don and Susan. And I want to run through amendments 2, 3, and 4 pretty quickly because there seems to be some universal approval. We'll ask Representative McKenzie, who's a Democrat, about this. But, Senator, have you seen any pushback on the emergency powers of the governor, the issue of slavery, or number 4, the language that currently prohibits ministers from holding public office?
No, really, they are passed with bipartisan support. Mine, I actually was the sponsor of Amendment 2 on the temporary incapacitation of the governor. And we are the only state that doesn't have it, but it actually passed unanimously in both houses. So it's definitely got bipartisan support. The main thing is educating people on the amendments, because sometimes there's a lot of words there, especially on Amendment 2, because of setting up the procedure and making sure that people know that we need to vote on them. And that's the important thing.
And Don, I know you want to ask about the slavery issue, but first, John North, it takes a lot for this to be codified. Explain the process for voters and the hurdles these have to achieve.
Yeah, Becky sort of alluded to it in the first block. You sort of have to dance on one leg backward, reciting the alphabet in reverse. And it takes a long time to do all of that. And as she said, you finally get it onto the ballot, and then there are some hurdles that have to be passed in order for it to become sort of part of the Constitution. One is the easy part. It's more yeses than nos. The more complicated part, which has actually ended up in the courts before, is this whole issue of then you have to add up everybody who voted, who cast a vote for governor, divide it by 2, and at least 50% of the vote for the amendment has to have met that sort of level in terms of passage.
So to simplify it, if there were 10 votes in the governor's race, you'd have to have 6 people voted yes on the constitutional amendments for it to pass. That's basic. We'll see more votes than that, hopefully. Don Bosch, your question.
Oh. Well, I agree, Becky. I think the Constitutional Amendment 2 is a good cleanup to clear up any processes for succession, both temporary and permanent incapacity. And I think John and John, they're right. There's not as much controversy. If we want to go to 3, a lot of people might think, well, gee, we don't have slavery anymore. We abolished that at the end of the Civil War. It really, though, does have an important major impact to get it out of our Constitution as it relates to prison labor and the fact that we have so much privatization of prisons. We have these prisons that are bidding contracts knowing that they get free slave labor built into those prices. And that really, say what you will, I think people that are incarcerated need to go to classes, need to work, need to do things in there, but they also need to be treated fairly and not taken advantage of in those situations. So 3 is important. I'm glad to hear, Becky, that likewise has bipartisan support.
Senator, we only have about 60 seconds left with you, but what would you like to leave our viewers with as they approach the ballot? Because as you said, there's a lot there when they go to cast their vote.
It's just real important to vote on these amendments. And so if you don't understand them, ask somebody, call somebody, but because they're very simple in basic nature. And, because if you wait till you go into vote and you don't even know they're going to be on there, you're going to skip them. And we do need everybody to vote, because this is an important process, and they're going to make a big difference. So I just encourage people to be educated and go vote.
Senator Massey, we appreciate your perspective. Susan, I promise to let you lead off with Representative McKenzie, who's joining us in just a few minutes. We're going to take a short break. Senator, we bid you adieu. We'll see you down the trail. And Representative McKenzie of Knoxville will be back with us shortly.